I'm ShiSh, and with me, Paul and Andrei are going to be presenting as well. So I'm going to do a quick 15 minutes talking about data. It's going to be a bit of a continuation of what Colin talked about. There's going to be a demo around this as well, so we're going to go into the actual implementation, how to use the data, how to get insights, all of that. I'm from Microsoft. I'm part of the startups organization with Microsoft and work with very innovative startups like Footprints and a lot more. Primarily, I also work with brands and retailers and help connect innovative startups with brands. And that's really what I do. So if you're looking for innovative startups, feel free to reach out to me. It's the remote. So for the session, we're going to cover 3 different areas. The first one is really about data, and that's primarily what Colin talked about as well, but I'll go into my perspective and then leading into Andrei and Paul's demo. I'll also talk about the shift from data to insights. How do you actually apply AI and machine learning to data to get more insights? And then go into, once you get the insights, do we stop there? Or do we actually drive action from that data? And that's really where agentic AI comes in. And I'll talk a little bit about what is agentic AI, how does it work, and we're going to see some demos of that. And that's really where the agentic AI and retail media comes in. So I'll begin with the data part of it. I don't know if any of you remember this story, but this is from a long time ago, 2012. And this was an article in the New York Times. The whole point was, how does Target, a US retailer, know that your teenage daughter is pregnant before you do? And that was sort of a controversial title that they put in. It was designed to grab your attention, and that was what it did. And the whole point here was, at that time, what happened was, retailers knew they were sitting on a huge amount of data. But this was an eye-opener for the rest of us to know how much data and how much insights retailers really had into all of our lives. The data that a grocer has tells your story. You can go in and they can tell from who you are, what you buy, what age are you single, are you married, do you have kids, how old are your kids, just from what you buy. And the patterns, do you have an allergy based on what you buy, they can tell that. So they can actually milestone your life. And this is an interesting aspect of what happened, the richness of the data. And also it brought up another important point. All of us have huge amounts of data. It's what we do with it that really differentiates us as a business. Do we take the data and apply some tools to it, inference to it, and get some data or insights out of it? So data tells a story. Can we actually extract or tease the stories out of it? The more stories we can get out of that, the more personal we get with our customers. The ability to understand one of our customers really well. And that's really what came out of this. But the data itself is not enough. So if you look at this slide, the retailer data, which is one-dimensional data, just tells you some element of data. So here there's 2 people, this person A and B, and they look like exactly the same people. The kind of campaigns and advertising you do to these 2 people would be exactly the same, because male born in 1948, raised in the UK, exactly the same. But in reality, it's 2 different people, as you can see. And when you bring in a lot of data from outside, you realize the data that I have was not enough. And how I was relating to that person was very different when I got a lot more data. So that going to, as Colin pointed out, the third-party data or second-party data, that additional data gives you context and richness and is able to give you more differentiation as a result. So what has happened is there's a couple of things that have happened. One is, from a couple of years ago, retailers had access only to first-party data. then there was a whole movement of third-party data being available and easily available. So a lot of retailers could then combine not just internal data, but bring in a lot of external data. That gives them a lot of richness and also the ability to get more personal. And that was the huge differentiator as well. And the other thing that happened, the huge thing that happened, is the evolution of the tools. Machine learning and AI became more accessible, and the capabilities was a lot better. As a result, you could do a lot more inferences with that data. It wasn't just raw data anymore. The ability to get insights from it and inferences from it was huge as well. And that was the huge difference. So one of the little experiments that I did with that combination is I had some transaction data from a retailer called Pier 1 a couple of years ago. And I put that data on a map. That gives me a lot of context. So here I can tell where the customers for Pier 1, the online site, coming from, and it was spread across the US. But then I wanted a little more context. I wanted to know, what is the demographics? What's the average income of these people? So I put in a little heat map on top of that so I could tell where exactly are the concentrations of customers. Are they primarily from higher income or primarily from lower income? And it clearly told me that it was higher income. Then I also looked at the calculated lifetime value of the customers and see where are they coming from? And from this, I could also tell the search data, for example, what are they looking for? In different parts of the country, the categories of products they were looking for was very different. Now, the context that I was looking at was a map. So this gave me a lot of context, or rather insights, into where exactly should Pier 1 set up their primary stores based on where their customers are coming from, based on where the high lifetime value customers were located, and what format should be the store based on the product. So the context is, again, another important. The other one that's also really, really important is location information. Location that is outside, as well as location in the store, in the mall. What are you doing in there? Because that gives you a lot of information about behavior and a lot of insights from that location. What you're looking at the screen, by the way, is anonymized cell phone data. So there's no personal information in here. It's just an ID and then location information, a timestamp, and so on. This data doesn't tell me anything. But when I put it on a map, what I see here is really information. Let me play this. What I see here is that data, which was just a bunch of numbers, is actually data from New York. And I can see where exactly people are moving, where they're located. Where do they go on a Friday night? Do they go to the park? Do they go to a restaurant? Which restaurant do they go to? So I get a lot of insights that gives me information that could help drive a campaign. It could help drive advertising that's targeted to specific people, and so on. So there's rich information coming out of that. And the other thing is, because of AI tools and because of machine learning capabilities, there's also the ability to make inferences. Like, for example, I can tell where do they live, where do they work, what's their favorite food based on the restaurants they go to. And do they have any allergies? I can look at what doctors they go to. Do they work out every day? So all of that movement data combined with inferences and machine learning gives me a huge amount of insights. And this, again, if you look at the footprints aspect of it, it is the information that you have of movements and the behavioral data combined that enables me to be more targeted to what do the customers want, to be able to act in the moment. And in the moment marketing is another aspect of it as well, where you know there was behavioral information that you could use to target. This is an example of movement within a store, movement within a mall, and so on. And finally, it's really all about data, where initially you're collecting all the sensor fusion data, And using that data, you're able to get more insights about what's going on, the behavioral information. You combine it with external data. This could be weather data, economics data, campaign data, and so on. And you can make interesting correlations with that. You can use it for demand forecasting. You can use it for workforce optimization, energy optimization, the retail media marketing itself, loss prevention, and so on. Essentially, that data has got a lot of ROI. One of the big ones, of course, is retail media and targeting audiences with it. But it's not really about insights alone. It is, you have to move the needle to actually act on that data. And this is where agentic AI comes in. A quick question. This was a survey that was done in the US very recently about agentic AI. 58% responded they'd not heard of it, about agentic AI. I'm curious about this room. How many of you have, raise your hands if you've heard about agentic AI? And a good number have, I would say about 50-something. Okay, so I'll talk about what agentic AI is really quick. So the first part of it is, let me make sure we got time yet. In 2022, there was a big moment. It's almost called the iPhone moment of AI, where there was a massive change because of ChatGPT being released. With ChatGPT being released, what really happened is AI was democratized. All of us were able to use AI, got to understand what it does, and experience the power of AI. And that was a huge moment. What it was really was a conversational tool. You were able to ask questions about any topic and get a response. You could get an opinion. You could get all kinds of things. And this was really the power of AI. And it started being used in business. So that was the first revolution. Soon after, we went to the second one, which was AI agents. Not just ask questions. If you ask questions, it could be, what's the best place? Where should I go on a holiday this summer? It would give you suggestions, but it won't do anything about it. AI agents, on the other hand, will actually do actions on your behalf. So if you take the same example, I want to know where's the best place I can go with these specific things. I want to be by the ocean. I want to go out in summer. Where's the best place to go? AI agents will not only tell you where, but they'll also book your flights for you and book your hotels for you. So there's an action involved. Think of it in terms of retail media as well. Find what is the budget for you. Find where exactly to invest and actually do the whole bidding process and all of that. So there is an action involved. The third area, which is multi-agents, where each of the agents has a specialty and a skill. For example, one agent could be just planning your holiday and saying, here's where you need to go. A second agent that's a specialist in airline booking. That's all it knows, but it can do amazing airline bookings. A third agent that can do hotels and can suggest hotels has all the knowledge about hotels. And they work together. When you ask, I want to help with the holiday booking, the first one will suggest where you should go. The second one will book the hotels. The third one will book the airlines. And they're all experts in their field. Think of how that would work in the retail media world, where you have capabilities and expertise in capabilities. That's multi-agentic, and this is really changing the world. Another huge aspect about this is to build an agent, and this is a huge moment in the industry itself. When you build agents, just like when you build applications, you need to be a programmer. You need to know programming skills like Python and C# and all of that. But with agents, you don't. All you need to do is build it in English or natural language. You can do it in Polish or English or any language. The important thing here is describing what should the agent do. Here's an agent that is an expert in hotel bookings, has all the data about hotels, and that's how you describe its expertise, and that's how you build an agent. So this is democratizing how you build agents, and this is a huge moment. So agentic AI is gaining a lot of momentum. All the big tech are investing huge in agentic, and this is really billions and trillions into agentic because this is changing the face of how applications are being built, and that's the demo you're going to see. Overall, the old application world, applications were monolithic. You had one big application, had an interface. All of us had to be trained on how to use that application. You had to use the interface, the navigation, the menus. It was complicated. It was tough to onboard. What's new, if you look at the top layer, it's a conversational interface. You don't use a screen with lots of fields anymore. You just talk to it. And that's the new interface of agentic applications. At the bottom, or the second layer, you have each agent with a different capability. And below that, each of the agents has a model associated with it, an AI model, the knowledge that is very specific to the task it does, and then the security. So in an agentic world, you have each individual agent fulfilling a capability. The interface is a chat interface. So for all of us, the huge innovation is we will continue engaging with applications conversationally and not through these complex interfaces. And that's the huge innovation there. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Andrei for an actual real-world example.
Thank you. Got it. Hi, I'm Andrei. I'm the CTO at Footprints and the product manager. And I will show you some demo at the end of my presentation. But first, I want to talk to you about how we built our agentic system, what it's used for, and why we built it. So, as ShiSh said, with ChatGPT, the machine learning and AI world democratized the access to data through a chat interface, natural language to any info, right? But as we saw throughout the day, and we established this since the morning, retailers have a lot of data. So they are sitting on a mountain of data, user data, transaction data, and loyalty data, so on. Everything in silos. And to bring it all together, it's very hard to do with one agent or 10 agents, right? So everything needs to be specialized. And let me just move it here. So, yeah. So it's hard to bring it all together in a coherent way. So we needed to build agents that can look at first-party data for in-store, for online, and then the most important thing, what I think is missing, the context. So the first-party data is great for reporting, for dashboards, but the why people bought something is very much influenced by the context. It's weather, it's holidays, the specific store, the geography, and so on, right? So we have same product, different story in each store. Let's say, I don't know, beer sells differently during football matches, or ice cream is influenced by school opening nearby, right? We had, speaking of context, we have a story from when we tested this. We have a retailer in Romania that operates near business centers, right? And through the context, bringing third-party data from online searches, publicly available data, we found out that there was a lot of search for women's stockings, right? That retailer was selling cigarettes, alcohol, magazines, things like this, coffee. So we made an experiment. We proposed an experiment. Why don't you bring in women's stockings, right? And the traffic went through the roof in the next month or so. right? So it's very important to look at the context. We call it the large shopper model. That's what's powering our Copilot. We predict what sells together, spots trending products before they become viral, and we recommend the perfect promotion or the promotion opportunities. How can we bring together multiple different products, right? Let's say, I don't know, GPT knows about Shakespeare. This one is trained on the retailer's data. What's very important, it's trained on each retailer's data. So we come to you, think of Footprints and all its capabilities as a wrapper on your own data. It sits behind your firewall. I'm talking to the retailers now. It sits behind your firewall, and the brands or the third-party access is in your control, right? What's the current status of this large shopper model? We can do sales performance. This is one agent. We can do basket insights, and we can do customer insights, and of course, the retail media knowledge. I like this one very much because I worked on this project for a year now, and we went through all the phases. Right? Traditionally, we look at Excel, and then we can see beer sales went up 20%, right? Then we have dashboards. From dashboards, we need a human to look at them and infer and figure out what to do next, right? What we are doing now is looking at the connections. So first-party data, second-party data, third-party data, it's all connected in a graph, connecting the dots, right? But they, with the Footprints AI Copilot, would do like this. So Monday, you get a notification, you get insights, you get a recommended action. And then you have results. This happens in real time. So the campaign is adjusted. It's adjusted geographically, so only for the stores that are impacted, right? Another use case, I don't know, campaign underperforming across a cluster of stores. We get an insight. In-store traffic drops due to weather, right? And a recommendation. Here we have what we call human in the loop. So you get a recommendation, and then you decide, okay, I want to do this, or I don't want to do this. It's all under your control. And here's everything you need in one place. So insights, very fast insights. Just ask and you get them. We know the shopper, the Copilot knows the shopper, and you can discover how shoppers show up and how they convert, how brands can better sell and better compete. Execution of existing campaigns, as I said before, you can adjust in real time everything. And what's very important, it's all a chat interface that is familiar to everyone right now. Yeah? And let me show you the future of Copilot and how it looks like. I don't think we have sound, but yeah, so we have the knowledge, retail media knowledge. If you want to onboard someone from a brand or from the retailer, all the retail media knowledge is at your fingertips. Yeah, okay. We have insights. As we know, data without insights is very hard to use. that's Footprints Copilot. And now it's demo time. Paul?
This is better, right? So we're gonna show you a bit how the platform actually works. This is a live demo, so please bear with us. We're taking a very interesting approach here. We'd like to basically show you what an intern, for example, from media agency, being exposed to the Footprints AI platform for the first time, how they would interact with the platform. So we're gonna show you in general only probably 3% of what the platform is capable of. The platform is capable of doing a lot of the things Colin pointed out. I'll change.
No.
So a lot of the things Colin pointed out. And today we're going to focus on a very small niche of what the platform is capable of doing. And again, we're going to put ourselves in the shoes of an intern from a media agency working for Pepsi. Would that work? Okay. So the first bit we're seeing here is exactly what Andrei was showing. I don't know if you remember that slide with the Excel, then the dashboards, and then the AI model. So we're not going to go through the Excel today because it's boring, but we're going to go directly to the dashboard section. So here in the dashboard section, you can see this is a view. So Andrei already selected Pepsi as a brand while I was talking. He already selected a period, let's say July 2025. And this is a view for a retailer, let's say across all its locations. You can also filter by location if you really want. So these are the views of who the customers buying Pepsi really are. These are computed based on transactional data. They can also be refined based on Wi-Fi triangulation data, and they can be refined even more based on loyalty data. So these are a few examples of the types of dashboards we can see. Let us at least show them okay. So you have the overview, which I think Andrei already showed you, but let's go back to the overview. Then you have, the overview is just very general, sales value, value share, sales volume, volume share, quantity, quantity share, and things like this. Then you can also see, I'm browsing through, I'm going to do this very quickly because we don't have lots of time, but we're really looking forward to scheduling, personalized demos with each of you, no matter what brand, media agency, or retailer. In case you're interested, we can show you this entire platform in great detail. So apart from this, we can also show a lot of insights regarding basket insights, basket incidences, sales performance, predictive basket mix, and yeah, this retail sales insight is compounding pretty much everything. But I think before we were at sales performance, right? Yeah. Okay, let's go back to sales performance then. And let's go back to the shoes of this young intern from the media agency. Okay, she's seeing all these dashboards and she's saying, okay, these don't really make sense. Do I have an agent that can help me make a bit more sense out of this data? So again, she can open the agent and she can ask, what are my sales for, what was the month? July. Yeah. Pepsi sales, evolution of Pepsi sales for the month of July 2025. Again, a normal question, she might ask, given the fact that she didn't understand the metrics that were shown in the dashboards, or she didn't know how exactly to extract meaning from these dashboards. So she just puts the question. Now, of course, this information in the Footprints platform is usually available only on a strictly need-to-know basis. So Pepsi can only ask about Pepsi brand information, Coca-Cola only about Coca-Cola, not about the performance of Pepsi, so vice versa. And also, Pepsi can ask about the carbonated drink category. It cannot ask about the beer category, for example. So here's what the agent is saying. So as you can see, it basically explains in natural language what the sales value trends were. So what the trends were in terms of sales value, what the trends were in sales of, in terms of volume, which days of the week perform better than others, you know? Again, hourly optimization, which hours perform better than others, and again, when you had the highest transaction count. So this can maybe start, you know, generating ideas in the head of the intern. But then she said, okay, I came to the Footprints conference, and I heard something about basket incidence. So let's see if the platform can actually tell us, apart from sales, if it can help us compute a more complex indicator, like basket incidence. So basket incidence is is basically the number of baskets out of 100 that contain at least one Pepsi product. So it doesn't matter if it's one Pepsi product or 100, it's still counted as one in terms of the basket. Basket incidence is very important because it shows shopping habits, you know, as compared to simple volume analysis. So this is why we're talking about, and Colin was talking about earlier, about which indicators are more relevant to various categories. From the discussions we've had with the carbonated drinks players, with beer players, we've seen that this basket incidence indicator is relevant. So let's say the intern asked about the basket incidence. Okay? So bear in mind again, let's say the basket incidence is 0.49%. This is, again, this is not real data because we cannot show you real data, but you can imagine that inside the let's say, setup of a real retailer, you'd have access to real data in the back. So it gives you information about the basket incidence, about the total number of transactions. It gives you the strategic opportunity. So from our experience, Pepsi is targeting something around above 4 in terms of incidence. Based on whether the incidence is performing better or not as compared to your baseline, you can then decide to take certain action. So then again, this opens up a whole new view for the intern. But then she says, okay, great, I know a few things about these brands, but I still don't understand what this retail media is. So she says, okay, let me ask the co-pilot what retail media really is. And this is an interesting question because it links to what we were asking also at the beginning of our event today in the first panel, what retail media really is. So according to the knowledge base we fed to our model, and this is part of the knowledge base, plus tons of other materials, either we've developed or we found in very valuable online resources. So I think this definition of retail media is quite interesting, and it aligns with much of the things that we've discussed today. So again, retail media is not only online, it's online and offline. It targets customers with personalized, data-driven campaigns, so it doesn't target them, across the board in a blanket approach, but rather in a sniper approach. And the key components are in-store, on-site, and off-site. And the most important thing is how do you synchronize between all these components. So this was an important, interesting question. What did we say that the intern would ask next? Okay, yeah. So she's saying, great. I understand what retail media says. They are telling me about in-store advertising on-site, but how the hell do I use Footprints to create a campaign? This is a new platform to me. I'm used to Facebook ads. I'm used to Google ads. How the hell do I create a campaign in Footprints? Okay, so it shows you. Access Campaign Manager. Start a new campaign. Select campaign type. Input details, etc., etc., etc. And then it shows you define the location filters. So again, what do you want to target? Define the media channels. You can enable also smart targeting, okay, if you have a URL that can track what people are doing. And then upload the content, and then run the campaign. And then the intern might say, okay, everything is nice, but who do I address this campaign to? So let me ask another question that's maybe relevant to help me determine which are the audiences, right, Andrei, that should be targeted? Life stages, okay. Which are the life stages that should be targeted by this Pepsi campaign? While she's setting up the campaign, to know which life stages to select from our list of audiences in Footprints. So in our experience, the life stages vary across categories quite significantly. For Pepsi, it seems that our AI Copilot believes that these 3 life stages are of most relevance. They determine this also based on past data. So based on the total basket incidence, basically, broken down for each of these life stages. And they're seeing which life stages are top performers, which life stages are bottom performers, and then probably for the bottom performers, or at least for the ones that have the highest potential, it shows them here. I don't know if you guys from Pepsi believe that these are life stages that would be interesting to target, but the AI Copilot seems to think this. And just to show you that we don't have a blanket approach for this, maybe we can ask the same question for Pampers to see if the life stages change. Again, the recommendations are based on the data the model has. And if we had more time, we could really drill down into this. So see, for Pampers, the life stages changed. For Pampers, they're looking at full nest 1, so families with kids 0 to 6 years old, obviously. Single-parent families and young couples. I think it makes sense also for Pampers, right? I mean, this is common sense approach. And then we said, okay, let's drive up the complexity, right? Let's address a pain point. Okay. Again, the intern is saying, okay, now I know who to target, but how do I target based on the pain points I have at Pepsi? And again, our agents, because we have multiple agents, go back to the database. They, can we say that they are reasoning or rationalizing what the pain points are? Yeah, so based on the data, they're trying to figure out what the pain points are. And then they say, okay, can we see the question again, please, Andrei? So the question was, how do I set up a campaign to address the pain points Pepsi had in July regarding young adults? So young adults was one of the audiences which was suggested to be targeted. So then you have the complete overview of the campaign strategy, which I think for an intern is very helpful, or for someone anyway that doesn't have 20 years experience in the field. I think it's very important in structuring the entire thought process around organizing a retail media campaign. So we are looking at key messaging, we are looking at the media channels which should be used, the various messages, how the messages should vary among the different media channels. Again, creative execution, what we talked about earlier, a few ideas here. Targeting filters, so again, how to drill down to an even greater level of detail with regards to how you target young adults. And then at the end, what we've been talking about today, the entire day, performance tracking, so closing the loop and attributing the sales for this campaign. So what Colin was saying, what objectives do we want to set for the campaign? That probably, in this case, we would want to set up an objective around increasing sales. So we are running out of time, unfortunately. Again, this was just a tip of the iceberg view on what the platform can do. So this was only the insights and analytics view, a bit of it. And then how you can use the Copilot to figure out the best way to set up a campaign, to identify the pain points the brand has, and then to get ideas around how to structure the campaign in the most effective way possible. So yeah, this was about it from our side. Again, I reiterate the invitation to please approach any of the Footprints staff if you want a more detailed and personalized demo on this. And yeah, we're open for any questions. Thank you.